Please welcome Abby Lawson.
Woo! I was running from my brother and his friends and tasted the sweet perfume of the mountain grass.
So I guarantee that at some point this weekend you have been asked, or you will be asked, so what is your blog about? Or somebody will say, can you tell me a little bit about your business? And all the professionals and gurus out there will tell you that the appropriate response to that question is to have prepared a little elevator pitch that tells people kind of a little bit about yourself and what you do, and helps kind of take that conversation deeper so that you can network with your peers and come out of the weekend with some really good connections, right? Well, I admit that I get a little bit nervous when it comes my turn to give my little spiel because I always feel like my elevator pitch comes across kind of awkward. It would sound something like, at Just a Girl on her blog, I teach women how to create a beautiful and organized home that meets the needs of their families and it meets the design aesthetic that they love. And I also teach about blogging. It sounds kind of weird, right? It's a little awkward, it's not pretty, and it goes against pretty much the number one rule of blogging that everybody's always telling you, which is to niche down, niche down, niche down, and only talk about one thing ever. But somehow it has worked for us. And this weekend, even though I feel awkward about my own elevator pitch, I have loved walking around and getting to meet people who are so passionate about what they do and so amazing at what they do. I met people who create delicious recipes and help people feed their families. I've met people who encourage moms and homeschooling moms to just really be the best and that they're doing a great job. I've met people who are passionate about giving other people confidence, whether that's through fitness or through the way they dress. And almost all of us do it through this little thing called a blog. And because y'all are so successful and phenomenal at what you do, there's definitely going to come a point where people come to you and they say, how do you do that? How do you build a business around, what you love? How do you grow a following online? How does that even happen? And when they come to you with those questions, you're going to have a choice to make. You can choose, to say nothing. You can choose to refer them to one of the amazing business gurus that is out there. There are tons of them. And there are tons of them here in this room that you could hand them off to. Or you could say, these people are part of my audience. They already trust me. They're asking me these questions, so they must be seeing me as an expert in this area. Maybe I should take on these questions and add kind of a blogging or online business element to my site that might be about something totally different. So I found myself wrestling with this question about 1 year into blogging, so it would have been at the beginning of 2014. All of a sudden, I started to get this stream of emails from people asking me, how did you grow your site this first year, and how did you grow your social media channels? And at first, I thought they had emailed the wrong person. I was like, me? They're asking me? That's kind of weird. There's so many more people out there who know more about blogging and online business than I do. But I would respond to their emails in the best way I knew how. And as this continued to happen, I started to see this need or this gap for that people wanted kind of somebody to hold their hand and walk them step by step through this process of starting their blog and kind of getting it off the ground and growing their site. And so as I looked around, I couldn't really find anything like that fit into this exact gap I was looking for. So I was like, well, maybe I'll just write it. I'll write down everything that I learned and, I'll put it out there. And so I started writing, and my husband, Donnie, who is brilliant, started doing research on how to best market this little ebook that I was going to write. We read Nathan's Authority, which is phenomenal and helped us so much. And on June 10th, 2014, which was my 30th birthday, we launched Building a Framework, the Ultimate Blogging Handbook. And I thought that maybe my mom would buy it and one other person. But instead, to my total surprise, it took off, and people kind of rallied around this ebook, and lots of people bought it. And it's to the point where it's in its 3rd edition now. We've been able to help thousands and thousands of people get started with blogging. And so as Framework kind of got out there and took off, we found ourselves naturally adding this blogging piece to my home decor and organization blog, which doesn't sound like a match made in heaven, but it was. So if you go to my site today, this is what you'll see. It's very clear what we talk about. We talk about organizing, we talk about decorating, and we talk about blogging. So my hope today is that over the next couple minutes, I can give some of you who are maybe thinking about adding that blogging element to maybe your food blog or your craft blog or whatever it is that you talk about. I can't give you a straight up answer because it will be different for everybody, but I can give you some questions to think about and some upsides and downsides kind of that I've stumbled through as we've kind of been on this journey of having 2 niches on the same blog. So the first question I would say to ask yourself is, are you willing to split your focus? Or put another way, how many shopping carts are you trying to push? Now, I love this analogy. I first heard it from my friend Becky. You might know her as Whippy or Whippy Cake. She's amazing, and she talked about how if you have one niche, it's kind of like pushing one shopping cart. You know, you're pushing it through the aisles, up and down. You can get through pretty smoothly without too much trouble, get everything in your cart, and finish your shopping trip without much trouble at all. But if you decide to take on a second shopping cart and try to push 2 through the store, take on that second niche, it gets a little trickier and a little more crazy and a little more complicated. And I was cracking up because about 3 days ago, this literally happened to me. I was at Target with my 2 boys, who are absolutely adorable, but also rambunctious. They're 5 and 8. And for some reason, we had like a lot of bigger items that we were trying to buy. And so the only way that we could make this shopping trip happen is if I ended up juggling 2 shopping carts and my 2 boys as well. We were quite the sight going through the store. But at the end of the day, we got through it. Target is in one piece. We were in one piece, and we accomplished our goal. We got everything that we needed, and we had to have those 2 shopping carts in order to do that. So sometimes, even though it was a little crazier and a little more complicated than it would have been with just one, we made it, and that's what helped us to accomplish our goal. So how many shopping carts are you trying to push? Are you willing to split your focus? And with that split in focus, there are definitely upsides, and there are some not so upsides to that. So one of the things that I have loved about having the split focus is that I've been able to delve into more than one of my passions. I mean, you're all here, you all are passionate about blogging and online business. And so by being able to dig deeper into that, I feel like when you teach something, or at least when I teach something, I have to do a little more experimentation, a little more learning on my own. I also have to come up with a way to systematize kind of what I do so I can explain it to other people in a way that's easy to understand. So in that way, with all that kind of extra work that goes into it, into teaching blogging, I feel like that has made me a better blogger. So that has been the upside. I feel like it has also kind of, at least in my home decor space, it has made my blog a little unique. I was the home decor blogger who shared income reports, which you don't see every day, and the home decor blogger who is willing to come alongside people and help them to get started. But along with those upsides, you know, there were some downsides as well. There are times, a lot of times, where I feel like I'm just okay at the blogging piece and I'm just okay at the home piece. And for a perfectionist like myself, that's like killer. You want to be like awesome at everything. But since I have kind of one foot in both camps, I can't really put 100% into both. So that is a downside. And as I demonstrated with my shopping cart analogy, it definitely gets more complicated. There are times where Donnie is my husband and my business partner. We've been working full-time on the blog together for a couple years, and there are times where we just look at each other and say, wouldn't it be great if we could just have this like perfectly smooth, streamlined, one funnel business with like this really smooth progression that everybody was going through, and instead we are just like in love with ConvertKit because we have like tags all over the place and like these crazy funnels, and it's all over the place. So it makes it a little more complicated, which takes more time and can be a downside. But I would say if you are willing to take on a little bit of the crazy, to take on that second shopping cart, and particularly if you're planning on creating a product that has to do with the business side, the blogging side, you absolutely have to own it on your site. Make it part of who you are and what you do. When we kind of started seeing this happening to Just Girl and her blog, that blogging was kind of a staple now and a component that we were going to keep around, we kind of reframed our tagline, which is now creating a beautiful, thriving home, life, and business. We redesigned our site to what you saw before, where it's very clear, these are the 3 things you talk about. People can see that immediately. They can go find the information that they need right away. So that was really important to us. And the other way we kind of owned it was we made this commitment to be consistent and to consistently put out blogging content right alongside of that home decor and organization content that we have normally. So for a while that took the shape of an income report. Now it's more of a blogging experiment kind of that we run each month, but we're consistent with that and committed so that maintains part of our brand. It also goes across our social channels. I send out an email to my list every Saturday that talks about home decor and organization, but at the bottom there's always this little blogger's blurb. So people who are interested in blogging always know that that's going to be there. And if they're not interested in blogging yet, when they are, they know where exactly they can find the information that they need. So own it, be consistent, if you're willing to split your focus. The second question I would ask yourself is, would adding a blogging element be serving your audience? We talk about blogging, or talk about audience all the time. Probably the majority of the speakers that are going to be up here this weekend will talk about the audience element, but my most favorite thing about talking about blogging on my home decor blog is this audience piece, and that is because I will get people who come to me because they want an organizational printable, or they want to take my home tour, or they want some decorating tips. And while they're there, they stumble upon our free blogging course, or they stumble upon one of our old income reports, and a light goes on for them. They may never have sought out some of those online business gurus because that's just not their space, but they can see if this little mom from Pittsburgh can start out knowing nothing and build her blog into this business that she runs with her family, maybe they can do it too. And so maybe we were just what they needed to give them that push. Maybe stumbling upon one of your recipes and then finding blogging content on your site is just what they needed to take that next step and put themselves out there, and it can literally change the trajectory of their life. And I've seen this over and over again. It's the most amazing and humbling thing for me to watch. So I love that part when it comes to audience. There's always the downside as well. Not everybody that reads about home decor, about food, or about parenting, or whatever they're coming to your site for is going to be interested in blogging, and that's okay. You're not gonna please everybody. The other thing that I always try to be careful of that's kind of on the downside is that there's this fine line. If you are working on these strategies and employing these strategies on your blog, and then you're turning around and telling the people that you use those strategies on exactly what strategies you used, it can get a little awkward. So you really have to be careful of that line, and I be careful of how I use my language and what I put right on my site, what I save for the people that are on the blogging segment of my email list, and what I save for my courses. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're going to navigate kind of the too niche thing. But how do you know if adding this blogging piece to your site would be serving your audience? And this is like basics. This is taking it back to like the core, but it's these things that I get so busy and I get so caught up in my to-do list that I sometimes forget to do. So make sure that you're listening. Listen to the questions that you get, similar to how Framework came about. I just was listening to questions people were asking you. Watch your email. What are people asking you in email? What are they asking in the comment section of your blog? What are they asking you on social media? If there's this one part of online business or blogging that keeps coming up again and again, maybe they're seeing you as the expert in that area and they really want to hear you talk about that. On the reverse side, make sure you're asking questions. Always be trying to take the temperature of your audience and see, who they are and what they need and how you can meet those needs best. We do this through, in an informal way, through questions on our Facebook page or our Instagram. We shoot questions out to our email list and ask for their feedback often. We try to do a more formal reader survey at least once a year where we ask about demographic information and we ask, what do you come to the site for? What has been most helpful to you? But we also ask my most favorite question, and I wish I could take credit for this question, but I learned it when I took a course from Fizzle. I think I was in my first year of blogging, and I've used it ever since because it's that good. And this question is, that I always ask, what is the greatest need that you have in your life right now? It's simple, it's pretty open-ended, so some people will skip it. But the people who don't skip it, their answers are pure gold. I've had some of my most viral posts come out of the answers to that question. I've had some of our most successful products come out of the answers to that question, just because I was listening to what people needed and what they were asking me for. And finally, just experiment. Put a post up on your site about the area of blogging or online business you're considering writing about. We all know the difference between one of those posts that, you post it and everybody seems to be commenting and they're really resonating with it and you feel like, this is awesome, everybody loves me. And then the ones that you kind of get crickets and are like, nobody responds and you're like, ooh, never mind. So that can be a good gauge of whether your audience is interested in this piece or not. So are you willing to split your focus? Would adding that blogging element to your site be serving your audience? And third, what do you have to add to the conversation? There's a lot of people out there talking about blogging. What is it that you do differently or uniquely, or what has worked for your business that you can share with people and really help them take that to the next level? So I like to think of it as just taking one step outside your box. And you can do that in a couple ways. First, you could think about, what are you known for? I think of, the food bloggers who create delicious recipes, but they are also absolutely incredible at taking the most gorgeous pictures of the food that make you want to reach to the screen and grab it and eat it right away, right? So for a food blogger, their box is food and recipes, but to take one step outside of that, they could create a course for food bloggers that helps them take more beautiful pictures of their food and style those pictures. I was just talking to a friend of mine whose main niche is she does video, and primarily for families, teaching them how to use a GoPro or a camera and editing their video so they can create these great family memories through video. And she's thinking of taking one step outside of her box and teaching bloggers how to really leverage video on their site and work that technical side of video that is so intimidating to a lot of us. I have a couple of friends in the home decor space. They actually started out as home decor Instagrammers and started a home decor blog. But along with that little box of home decor, they decided to take one step out, and they also share their Instagram tips and tricks on how to grow your presence on there, because that's what they're known for, and people know that they're experts at that. Another way to think about it would be, what have you done that has given your business a boost? What was that thing that took you from kind of just starting out to the success that you have today? A couple examples, I think of a friend of mine. I have lots of home decor examples because that's the area that I'm in. But one of my friends really saw her blog take off both with her email list and with her page views when she started adding printables to her site. And she saw this happening. She was like, this is amazing. People have to know about this. So she took one step outside that box and created a course that teaches bloggers not only how to make printables, but how to leverage them to grow their email list and build their site, and also sell them to bring in an additional revenue stream. Another friend of mine found herself in conversation with some other home decor bloggers in our niche, and they got to talking about affiliate marketing. And she had always assumed that everybody in the home decor space was kind of making what she was making from affiliate marketing. But she came to find out through this conversation that These bloggers who had been blogging longer than she was and had more page views than she did and were quote unquote bigger names than she was, were making only a fraction of what she was making. So she took that that was her one step out of the box, created a product to help home decor bloggers with affiliate marketing. And finally, just what is your favorite part of blogging? You know, what do you, when you see on your calendar that you get to work on Facebook ads today, or you get to work on photography today, or you get to plan out your content calendar today, do you get a little bit giddy about? Maybe that's what you can add to this conversation. Just one more example, a friend of mine gets absolutely thrilled and giddy when she gets to figure out a way to pitch to brands and make a successful pitch and partnership with them. And she knows that a lot of other bloggers don't look forward to that. It makes them feel awkward, and they're not quite sure how to do it. So she created this little side hustle where she helps her fellow bloggers with that. So there's so many ways to do it. There's so many angles that you can take when you're looking for that gap that you can fill perfectly. So we're back to the original question. Should I blog about blogging? And I would love to say, like, if you fall into this category, then the answer is yes. And if you fall into that category, then the answer is no. There's not one cut and dry answer for this, obviously. And honestly, when people come up to me and say, you know, I'm thinking of adding this element to my home decor site or my food blog, my gut instinct is to be like, no, don't do it. It will just make your life crazy. Stick with the nice, streamlined, simple thing. Cassidy is talking next, and she's talking about niches. You listen to her, don't listen to me. That's my gut instinct. But as I look back on my own personal experience and the journey that we've gone through with just a girl and her blog and come to where we are today, I can't say that I would change a thing. Yes, it's not for everybody, and yes, it's not perfect, and it can add some complication. But if you are willing to take on that second shopping cart, it could also be extremely valuable, not only to you, but to the audience that you're serving as well, even if it makes your elevator pitch a little bit awkward. Thank you, guys.